Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. I'm joined by Micheál Deasy and Steve Jones. A bit of work going on in the background. If you hear that, apologies, but hopefully it adds to the feel of something. There we are. Doors are going on. Deasy, how are you? All well? You're looking well.
Oh, thanks very much, Tom. I'm feeling good now. Feeling good from the knees up. Everything from there down is just falling to pieces, but all good besides that.
I'm glad you said the knees up and not the hip up. Jonesy, how are you? Glasses are clean. You've had time to study what few runners we have this weekend.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good from the knee down. So me and Dees are making up for one person. So it's all good.
Again, I'm glad you didn't say from the hip down. So it's the three of us this week to preview Kempton and Warwick. We've got two really big handicaps. They're the feature betting heats, no doubt about that. Don't forget, if you want a recap of all of our bets, go to insights.matchbook.com for all of those. And that applies to all the sports on the Matchbook platform. If you like our content on YouTube, give this video a like. You can subscribe for free. And on the podcast, give us a review and follow us on your preferred podcast app. We start with the 118 at Warwick as far as betting goes. It is I'm not going to read all that out. It's a lovely name, though. It's basically a 2-mile handicap chase, and we've got just 4 runners. Currently, 4.0 is Brave Siaska, not available. It's the same price. 4.5 Sky Pirate, and Fast Buck is 7.0, right at the top of the betting. It is a tight little heat. Take it away, first of all. I think there's a couple of agreements on Brave Siaska. Jonesy, is that where you're looking?
Yeah, this is the Edward Courage Cup, so it's a prestigious race. We don't have to go all the way through, but no, it's a disappointing field, but you can see why, because Sky Pirate, who is last year's winner and went on to do great things in the spring as well, winning obviously the Grand Annual. And he's back and he's off top weight and he's giving everything upwards of 1 stone and 6 pounds. So a lot of the entries were out of the handicap. So you can see why it's cut up, but it's a bit disappointing. I always associate Sky Pirate with big fields, although he was able to win this last year, which was a bit of a surprise because he was always that kind of horse that needed everything to drop right. And he kicked on last season, but the Grand Annual would be, I would imagine, his ultimate aim again. And I'd be surprised if this sort of race dropped well for him. And he's up against the horse in Brave Siaska, who is very progressive. He's taken really well to fences, only had 3 starts, but has won the last 2 of them. I think it's important that Brave Siaska's won over this course and distance back in just before Christmas, because this Warwick takes a bit of jumping. They come thick and fast down the far side, and it does catch a few horses out. And for a horse who was obviously well handicapped at the time in that Novices handicap chase, but he jumped nicely, went through the race well. To have that course form's great. And then he followed up last time. I was really impressed with him at Ascot for a number of reasons, because I thought it was a good race. He beat Amarillo Sky, Fast Buck, One True King, another limited novices handicap, but that was a good race, and he did tend to edge left a little bit. So I think going back to a left-handed track will suit Brave Siaska. He's a horse that's progressing very well. He's up another 9 pounds, but I think he's a really nice prospect. And Venetia Williams in great form, and Charlie Deutsch, who I think has got some good rides on the day, for my money, is developing into one of the best chase jockeys, if not the best chase. So I'm really impressed with him this season. So a lot in Brave Siaska's favourite. You won't get a big price because there's only 4 fields in his favourite, but I think he's going to be very hard to beat.
I agree. The only thing I'll add to Sky Pirate is the Grand Annual. It tends to be a race. Obviously, it wasn't last year because Sky Pirate progressed quite nicely, but it's often a race where horses don't win a chase all year and they drop back to a decent handicap mark, take advantage of it. I'm sure that he is being campaigned with that race in mind. I sort of feel they won't mind too much what happens tomorrow, if you know what I mean, on Saturday. And I think, for that reason, I think Brave Siaska's got so much going for him. I don't really want to add too much to what you said, but We know he handles the ground. I think he'll dominate, and I think he should be clear favourite, and that's why I want him on board. DC, no official selection. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just what you said about Sky Pirate. I think it'd be a disaster if he won this race and went up a few pounds in the ratings, like, because he's rated 157. He won this off 145 last year. Like, he doesn't want to go up anymore in the ratings. He probably wants to come down, and that's why I just picked no bet, because if he tries, he'd beat them easily, I think, but I don't know if he will try or not. And the rest of them, muchness, so no bet.
I like how we often skirt around the subject of horses trying or not. DC's just like, yeah, don't give a try. But that's how it is, and I think that's it. I think they're probably working back for a defence that Grand Annual Crown.
You made the case more eloquently than me, but yeah, I'm just translating.
Say how it is.
Yeah.
Normally we have to translate for you.
Yeah.
There you go. So that is the prestigious Edward Courage Cup. Who was Edward Courage, Steve James?
Oh, a very prominent owner going back, wasn't he? It was Edward Courage. Those maroon and yellow halves of my youth, all sorts of good horses that they had. Well,
I'm good. I'm glad I asked the question. So, good. I didn't know if he was sort of built a bridge or something, but obviously not. On we go.
He's probably built a brewery.
He probably did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the 132 at Kempton.
Far more important.
Indeed. Champagne Court is 3.75. Capitoy 4.5. Foxborough 5.0. Another tight heat. Fanzio 6.5. 8.0 for Falco Blitz. And then the bottom two are slightly bigger prices. DC, kick us off for the 132 at Kempton.
Yeah, I like Capo Tile for this. He looked to be a very progressive horse when he won at Stratford in October, and he went off. He was nearly second favourite for a 2-mile handicap chase there. A good one in the November meeting, the one that Agetur the Geese won, beaten Stone and Silver. That was just, I think, everything happened a bit too fast for him that day. He was dropping 2 miles. I just don't think he was of that class. But he came out and won at Fontwell. Then a few weeks later at an absolutely massive price, he won at 13.0. Which was I remember actually seeing the result that day, thinking, "Jeez, we missed one there." I think this is kind of a middle distance is perfect for him. I think there's still plenty of progression in him. He's only 7. I think he's a nice horse. I think he's a decent bet in this. A few of them aren't great in this. I was looking at. I was very tempted to put up Locke's Corner for all that his form figures looked at like some kind of weird text language of P5. You know. If they can get him going again, I think he's probably one of the better horses in the field, and he's a big price. But he's been so bad for his last 6 runs, and I think the last time he actually ran well was over this course and distance. So if there's a bit of money for him tomorrow, like on Saturday, he's 26.0 now or something. If he's being backed, I might have a little win place on him, all right. But the main bet will be Capo Tie.
He's 16.0 is Locke's Corner. Good job his form figures aren't P155.
Yeah.
Stephen.
Yeah, it's a good job. It wasn't fallen, unseated, and carried out either. So, no, do you know what? I was talking to Toby Laws, who trains Capitoy, the other day at Taunton, and I was saying to him, "Oh, things are going well, Tobes." And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "How many horses you got?" And he said, 17. Since the start of October, he's run 12 of those. Obviously, more than once, a lot of them. Vocal Duke scored 3, but he's had 8 winners. Now, if I had loads of money and I wanted horses, surely you get more enjoyment out of trying to help someone, a young trainer who like Toby or Sam Drinkwater or Kieran Burke, or there's no end of them, rather than going every time to the top trainers. Surely you get more enjoyment out of that. It's just something I thought about, because Toby's a very good trainer, and he used to ride Altior when he worked. He's assistant to Nicky Henderson. So that's my big up of him and a few others. But I think this is a trappy little race, and I think Caportoy's got a chance, but I think others have as well. I think Fanzio of Richard Hobson's. I came down on Champagne Court, who's a horse I've liked for quite a long time. He won over hurdles last time at Exeter. He'd become pretty well handicapped off 126. He's only gone up £4. His chase mark is the same as hurdles. He's back over fences. He's got plenty of form over fences. And this is sort of his sort of trip 2.5. I know he's likely to be vying for favouritism, but one of the angles in there, I thought Jeremy Scott, who had a very slow start to the season, is hitting form in some order now. And now that Champagne Court and his trainer have hit form, I think he's the one for me in this. But it is a trappy little race. I wouldn't go big on it. I wouldn't go big stakes.
Champagne Court for Steve, Caportoy for DC, for Tobes, and no bet for me. We move on back to Warwick. A good-looking Novices chase. It's the Wigley Group Hampton Novices chase. Betting is 3 under 3.5, 1.53. Mint condition 5.5, 8.0 for Doyen Breed. Any News 15.0. Mossy Fen 17.0. Not many bets going up, but Steve, because we're sitting a few of these out and there's only 3 of us, you are allowed in the quickest way possible just to confirm how this horse got his name. Take it away, Steve Jones.
3 under 3.5, owned by Max McNeil, who everyone know the colours. His father, Ted McNeil, was a fascinating man. He was a golf professional at Royal Portrush. And when the Open was at Royal Portrush, he was 3 under 3.5 and then hit in a bush and took rather too many shots to still be 3 under 3.6. So it's 3 under 3.5. He's a fascinating guy. Because he also flew in bombers during the war. He was from Northern Ireland, so didn't have to sign up. He was big mates with Fred Daly. So before the war, they were very similar level. Ted McNeil went off and was a wireless operator in bombers. Fred Daly decided not to sign up, played golf, and then won the Open after the war. So jobs are good.
Lovely stuff. Good info. That is how 3 under 3.5 got his name. But he's not a betting proposition for you, Jonesy. Here, you're sitting this one out.
If Lucinda Russell had Corrix Rambler in this race, she's decided to run it off top weight in the big race, the Classic Chase. I would have backed it in this race because 3 under 3.5 has obviously got a lot of talent. I hate his head carriage. He's got a very, very high head carriage, and I don't want to back him. I dare say a win, but at some point, I don't really trust him. I hope Max isn't listening from Barbados because this is his great hope. But I don't like his head carriage at all. He's very high. And Paul Nicholls, when he puts sheepskin noseband on horses, they try and get their head down. I'm still remembering Mr. Mole, who I backed once to beat Sprinter Sacra. That went well. So, no bet for me.
Okay, no bet for you. Max has been in touch, Steve, actually, about that head carry. He says, Steve, fallen, unseat, carried out you. DC, you're putting one up here, are you?
Yeah, I was going to say mint condition without the fav because I was looking at this before the final decks came in and Midnight River was in there, but he's not now. I'm just going to go for mint condition to beat 3 under 2.5. He was second on this card in the Leamington Novice Order last year to Admiral, and if there was another 100 yards, he would have won the race. He's stepping up to 3 miles now. He is a very game, just tough horse, and like 3 under 2.5 is a sharp price for very good reason. He's been very good. I think that in condition has some good form behind there now as well. Like beating Ashtown lad the last time he beat him there on the 30th of December. That was a good win, and I think he'll improve for that. I think he's well worth a bet at what did he say his price was? He about 5.0. Yeah, win on it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. He is mint condition is 5.5.
5.5. I'm very happy with that. I'll have a win only bet. I was going to back him without the fav, but he's second favourite, so he'll probably be the same price without the fav as he will be as the fav will be. So back into it only, and maybe do an old forecast as well if you're feeling that way inclined. We'd be interested to see how Massey Finn runs for on his first run for Christian Williams as well. He was a good horse there a few years ago.
The only thing I'll add to that is 300 through 5. I haven't got a bet in the race. He's developing a profile for the not quite 4 miler, the 3 mile 6 race at the festival. If that's of interest, we know experience counts for plenty in that. This is going to be his 5th chase start. Paul Nicholls has already got one for the festival novices chase. I think he could be very interesting for that. Brian Gould has been in touch to say great McNeil story. Thanks, Steve. I never did I think you'd see the words great story and Steve in the same sentence, but there you go. You've excelled, Jonesy. We move on we go back to Kempton. This is the Silviniaco Conti chase. Mr. Fisher is 2.38, 3.75 Eldorado Allen, 4.33. Sorry. Rouge Vif is 3.75. Eldorado Allen is 4.33. Defi de Sil can be backed at 6.5. I'll just kick off if you don't mind, because I have a strong opinion that Mr. Fisher should be a warm order here. It is a fairly warm order, but will take a lot of beating. I think he's got the best form in the race based upon chasing Frodon home at Sandown. I know he was pulled up last time, but it's just not a 3 miler. This is his bag. He is a previous course winner. I think soft ground, 2.5 miles is exactly what he wants. He is now the best of these on ratings. I know that we don't always look into those, but I think it's notable. Defi de Sol is down to 158, but that shows that he is declining. We know that Mr. Fisher, who has been rated slightly higher in the past, but I think this is his level, and I think there's just everything in place for him here. 2.5 miles, soft ground. I don't really mind which way round he goes, but I would much rather. He's just very much on a consistent path. Eldorado Allen ran okay last time. I know he won at Exeter. He won the Holden Gold Cup, but obviously that's a handicap. And I just don't know where Colin Tizard's horses are at the moment. It's a bit of a worry. So I think Mr. Fisher is pretty solid. Steve, are you singing from a similar hymn sheet?
Yeah, I was very disappointed with this race because Dashel Drasher was in there and a few others, and I thought it was shaping up to be a nice race. And the entry stage, I fancied Mr. Fisher, and I still do, but we're not getting the sort of price that I anticipated. Talking of horses' names, Mr. Fisher's well named because he's by Jeremy, and of course, the frog in Beatrix Potter was Jeremy Fisher, and that's where it comes from. And why I say that is because Mr. Fisher last time, like you say, ran in the King George over 3 miles, and had previously unseated at Aintree when tried over 3 miles, so we were a bit inconclusive with stamina there. But I don't think Jeremy's go beyond 2 miles 6 very often, so I wasn't at all surprised that he didn't run very well in the King George. Like you said, dropping back to 2.5. He's got the form in the bag. He won the Peterborough, I think it was, wasn't it, when it was rerouted to Cheltenham last season. And then, like you say, ran Frodon close on the last day over 2.6 and a bit. Sandown, which I think's the absolute limit of his stamina. I think that was too far for him, to be honest, because Frodon just outstayed him at Sandown. This is perfect. I think he's a really good horse up against Defi de Sil, who I think is gone. Eldorado Allen, who I'm with you, I'm not convinced, and Rouge Vif, who needs to improve stepping up in distance. So yeah, very solid. Another boring favourite. DC,
you think Rouge Vif might improve?
I do. I think it's about time he went up in trip. To be honest, he was a good 2 miler, but a lot of times he just got outpaced, and that was what happened the last time. He actually went off shorter than Politolog for that Schlur chase in Cheltenham. Like there was on his first one for Paul Nicholls, there was a bit of support from early on in the week, and like he was going fine until they started to come up the hill and they just got away from him. He just didn't have the pace for it. I think they're going up to 2.5 miles, and this is his second one after wind surgery as well. The usual, every horse of Paul Nicholls gets a bit of wind surgery at some stage. If he can improve, like he's getting £6 as well. That might help him. I just think he's a slightly bigger price than Mr. Fisher. I think he's well worth a bet in this if he can improve for the step up and trip and and for the second one after wind surgery. Although, like Mr. Fisher, I've very good time from as a horse. He's just there's a lot of P's and U's and P's in his farm there as well, and I'm willing to take a price in the slightly bigger price horse here for a bit of value.
Fair enough. Silviniaco, Conti, Chase. Yeah, I think the Lingfield program has sort of changed the amount of quality horses we've got here with connections going after prize money. But there we are. Let's kick on back to Warwick. Talking of horses' names at Warwick, keep your eye out for Blow Your Wad, who runs at Warwick on Saturday. I have no idea how they got that one through, but they did. So there you are. Maybe it cost a lot of money, the horse. This is the Ballymore Leamington Novices Hurdle. 225, Surrey Quest 3.0, Party Business is 4.0, Viva La Villa 6.0, Staghorn 6.5. Bigger prices, the last trio. They're all double figures. Straight back at you, DC.
So my first selection, this was Party Business, but I thought he was going to be a bigger price, and I was looking at the declarations. I didn't think he would be as close to Surrey Quest as he is. I thought he was coming with maybe not a winning run, but he was going to go close in the Challow last time. He fell at the second last running at a big price, and he looks like a nice travelling horse. He'll travel into race. I don't know, has he got a huge burst of speed? But I thought he was going to be a bigger price. So the one I'm going to probably have a bigger bet on is Gentleman at Arms, Stuart Edmonds' horse. He is, I'd say, 17.0. Now he won at was it Huntingdon just before Christmas. He was left out in front. I was actually watching the race because I had a bet in the favourite that fell, the horse called Last Royal. It was on Stephen's Day, and Last Royal fell, but he fell because this horse, Gentleman at Arms, had them all off the bridle and chasing him from a good bit out. He was rated 78 in the flat. He was trained by Harry Dunlop, and this is going to be his third run for Stuart Edmonds. I just thought there was a lot to like about the way he won on Stephen's Day. He went out, made all, absolutely killed him at galloping. He, again, Stuart Edmonds is a very good trainer, but maybe if this horse was trained by someone else, he would be half the price. And I think at 16.0, this isn't really an each way race, only get the two places, but I think he's definitely worth a winning place bet. And if there's any money for him again, that'll be an even bigger indicator that he's going to run well. So I'm going to put him up as my main one. I think Party Business will run it very well as well.
So will you back them both at those current prices, 17.0 and Party Business?
If Party Business is that price tomorrow, no, I'd probably just stick with the 17.0 shot.
Okay, I do think Party Business is just about a fair enough price, to be honest. I liked the Ascot run, and he would have been beaten last time in the Challow, no doubt. But I think he could easily have finished second, and I think a lot about this will suit soft ground over 2.5. He's run well at the track before. I'm just keen to take on the Nicky Henderson thing, to be honest. Surrey Quest, who has looked really good, but I just thought was too short based upon what he hasn't achieved yet. So, and I thought, Party Business, had he been placed last time, then he may have been well beaten, but he'd be a shorter price, and that's what I think would have happened. So,
I thought Surrey Quest to be a lot shorter. I thought he would be closer.
Did you really?
To be honest, yeah.
Well, so would you not be backing? So you're not, but you're not going to be backing him anyway.
No, I wouldn't be backing anything at even money in the novice hurdle. Ever.
Okay. Fair enough. Steve, you would. Do you think Surrey Quest is the...
Yeah, I do. I think he sets the standard. I think he's the most likely winner. It's not. It's another race that I don't really like the shape of it. I think Surrey Quest has got a really nice profile. I think he's clearly got the stamina for this. It often throws up some decent horses, and they're not always stayers. The new one won it. Thomas Hobson won it a few years ago, but it does still take some getting. And I think Surrey Quest is like the other one I'm interested in a little bit. Viva La Villa, who was a winner at Lingfield on debut, and then second to Lossiemouth in a Grade 2 at Sandown. I think that's a tough ask for a horse that's only run once. So I didn't think that was the worst run in the world. But yeah, Surrey Quest, I came down on another favourite. So boring, but I think he'll win. But it isn't the kind of race that I'm mad keen on, to be honest.
No, fair enough. I think that goes for a lot of us about a lot of the races, barring probably the feature handicaps. Party business for me, and maybe for Dees, depending what price he goes off. Gentleman at Arms at a bigger price for Dees, and Steve is with Surrey Quest. Time to remind you about the sign-up offer, which is the £20 welcome offer. It's money back as cash if your first bet loses. It's for new customers only with Matchbook. Use the bonus code INSIGHTSRF. Those are the letters, Romeo Foxtrot, INSIGHTSRF, to take advantage of the £20 welcome offer. If you place your first bet and it loses, you get your stake back as cash. Full T's and C's on the Matchbook website. That is the £20 welcome offer for new customers only. Right, we move on. We're going to go back to Kempton now. And this is the Lanzarote Handicap Hurdle. So it probably is the feature betting heat, probably just over the Classic Chase. Betting currently, Jelena Bello is 6.5, 7.0 Marie's Rock, Green Book 8.5, Earth Lord 10.0, 11.0 up for Parole. We go bigger prices the rest. Right, there's a lot of positivity about Marie's Rock here. So, DC, you can make the case first of all, and then I'll follow you in.
Yeah, so it was a few years ago there that Marie's Rock was people's dark horse for the champion hurdle, and she's obviously been hard to train, but she won on Stephen's Day, or Boxing Day. Sorry for the UK listeners. She finally got her win when they stepped her up to 2 mile 5 in soft ground, won by 7 lengths. She won well, and I can see I've a thing with mares as well. Though, if a mare wins, you'll see a lot of mares winning, and they can go on a bit of a run. Then they kind of hold their form very well when they're in good form. So I think she's got to win. This is pretty much the exact same conditions again today. I think that she's definitely a good win-only bet in this at the price. She's not a win-place price, so just back her win-only. For all that, I'm not mad about putting up shorties in this, but in any race. But I think Marie's Rock is a very solid bet at the top of the market for a win-only bet anyway.
All right, I'll follow you in there. I completely agree. I like that point about mares, but I mean, just moreover, she absolutely bolted in at Kempton. It looked more like that Taunton form when she looked like the real deal, I thought, and then subsequently disappointed. Things didn't go to plan. Well, she missed the rest of that season, didn't she? I thought maybe she'd gone, but I think soft ground is ideal. Clearly, this course and distance ideal. Up £9 for that. Very fair. I think she should be a clear favourite, personally. So she is best bet material for me, Marie's Rock. Go on, Dees, who else?
Well, I've put up 2 more as well now. I've gone for kind of someone in the middle and someone at a big price as well, because why not? Up for Parole, I'm not going to make the full argument for him. Jonesy can make him, but he beat a very good horse last time. He beat Stellar Magic the last time, who was my best bet in the day, and Up for Parole beat him easily, I thought. So he's definitely been a progression there. He's running off a nice race weight there in the middle of the weights. I think this kind of triple suit him. He's just about a win place price. So I have a smaller win place betting him. And Comanche Red at what price is he, Tom?
Not quite Boron Bill price that you found last year at 67.0. Hello. 29.0 for Comanche Red.
Yeah, I'll have a bit of that as well. He was Kempton I think Kempton is his track. You see a lot of horses that keep winning at Kempton. I think he ran a fine race. I actually backed him in that race on Boxing Day, that Marie's Rock one, where he finished 4th. I think he was getting. I'm just checking notes. I think he was getting £4 that day. He's getting £15 there. No, he might just he's a bit older. He might just take him a few runs to run into form. But I think at that price, he's definitely worth a win place bet. You'll get extra place on this. You're going to get 5 and 6 place market. So I think at 29.0, he's a nice win place bet in this. Hopefully he goes off 85.0 like Boron Bill and scoots home again. Steve, we will let you have a go, I promise. But it's only because he's mentioned a Chris Gordon Hall. I'm going to put up the other one as well, which I know this is a late edition but I like the cheap pieces on Press Your Luck.
and I always thought he was a decent horse. I remember he was brought down here, and I remember how disappointed connections were. That they always thought he had a fair bit of ability. He had just one go this season and was keeping on off the same mark. Cheap pieces go on, soft ground this way around. I think he's really interesting at 34.0. Press your luck. So I'm going to have a bit of that as well, win and place. But Marie's Rock is the main one. Right, Steve, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're talking about the Chris Gordon horses. After Highway 102 won at Taunton, he said that this was the race, because we know that Chris Gordon likes a good time, likes a bit of fun, and I don't think he realised that this race isn't in Lanzarote. I think he thought he was getting a free holiday, so the old boy's going to be disappointed. Anyway, the horse that I really fancy in this is Up for Parole. He's trained by Jamie Snowden, who's in really good form. He was a promising novice hurdler last season. Only came out in the end of January, but then won his second and third starts in the spring. Tried chasing this season. I made a promising comeback at Chepstow, then tried chasing, and then, like Dee said, it Haydock, massively impressed with him against Stella Magic, who I think is a really smart horse and a really well handicapped horse. And Up for Parole did him on the run in, and I thought that was a really good race. And I don't think it really dropped perfectly for Parole, because he travels really well. That was only 2-3, and then they really sprinted from the last. And he jumps really well. He's jumping. It might not have been great over fences, but it's certainly very, very good, very slick and efficient over hurdles. And I liked his attitude, and to be able to get on top of Stella Magic on the run in there that day was really impressive. I think going up to 2-5 on a sharp track when they're going to go a good pace is going to be absolutely perfect for Up for Parole. I think this is a seriously well handicapped horse. And I really like his chances. It's my kind of race, this, and I'm really keen on Up for Parole.
Couple of shouts for Up for Parole. He is keen. Although you did put an E on the end of parole on the document, Steve. I'd like to dock you a few points for that.
Well, I've not had as much experience with being up for parole as you have. So
no, fair enough.
Can I just give one more big one I mentioned there, because if I don't mention him and he does anything, I'm going to be sick. Careless Commodity, the John Joe horse that's down the bottom, I had him picked out for. He actually at a race at Aintree, but he didn't run it, and then he ran in Hereford a few weeks later and was a massive drifter. Now they've put a tongue tie on him for the first time for this race. Now he's going to be a gigantic price. He could be 50 or 60.0. If he's, I just want to just put him out there as well. I'll be backing him as well, just in case, because I think they're trying to land a pot with him, and this could be the day. He drifted from 6.0 to I think 16.0 the last day and finished last, and just wasn't that at all. So they put the headgear on him now, and I'll be continuing to back him until he lands that pot for a very shrewd yard. John Joe Neal is on him, or John Joe Jr. is on him for his dad. So there's something going on there, hopefully.
Steve?
Yeah, I don't blame Dees at all for putting up these long price horses after last year's 66-1 Bore and Bill, because he clearly wants people to mention last year all the time, which I think is fair enough, because if I'd put up a 66-1 winner, I think I'd have want it mentioned in every podcast for the next 10 years. So I don't blame him.
It was 85.0 on the exchange, Steve.
Oh,
85.0.
66-1, no less. Yeah.
I'll never learn.
It was a whopper of a price.
And just on the day he drifted from, I put him up at 14.0 and he went off at 85.0.
That's the power you have. 3 o'clock, 3 mile 5 is the Agetur Classic Handicap Chase. currently, you've got Jericho Rock at 5.5, Correct Ramblers, that I mentioned already, 6.0, 9.0, Paddle Your Own Canoe, Not a Chance, previous winner, 9.0, Achille 11.0. Then we get into the bigger prices. Steve.
Yeah, the last name there is, I want two darts at this one. Achilles one, who was second in this race last year to Not a Chance, when ridden perhaps a little bit further back than ideal, travelled beautifully. But you can understand why Charlie Deutsch rode Achilles that patiently, because that was the first run for a year and 3 months or something. So although it's a horse that it does have a habit of going well fresh, I think it just might have needed the run and then back that up really well. Second in the Grand National Trial at Haydock to Lord de Menil, again ridden in the rear, and it's run particularly well in the Midlands National when perhaps again being ridden patiently wasn't fantastically, probably wasn't an advantage. Now, on the return in the Beecher Chase, I thought Achilles ran really well from just settled in midfield. And at Chepstow in the Welsh National, so this is a horse who clearly stays, so 3 miles 5 in soft ground is not going to be a problem. I thought, again, was ridden too far back. But the problem was, if you remember the Welsh National, there were 2 false starts, both caused by Highland Hunter and Harry Cobden. And then when they had the standing start, blow me, Highland Hunter took out half the field by shying at the takes and going right. And the biggest loser, or one of the biggest losers, was Achilles. So to stay on, to get back into the race, because he didn't just stay in the field then. Hugh Nugent rode Achilles. And he didn't just stay in the rear. He got back into a position where you think that he would have liked to have been in midfield. And he was a bit wide. So things didn't go to plan at all in the Coral Welsh National, but he still finished 4th and ran a real nailer. And I think this is an ideal sort of race. He obviously likes the track with that second last year. He's a little bit higher in the weights, but only £4. And I don't think that is going to be the difference between success and failure, because I think it's much more important, especially around Warwick, to know the track and stay the distance and keep on going. So Achilles one, I'm interested. The other one is more lightly raced, is Eclair Surf, who again is formed behind I Will Do It, who went on to win the Welsh National. And he was running a really good race in the Welsh National Trial at Chepstow at the start of December, and was bang there, travelling every bit as well as I Will Do It. And he just ploughed through the fifth last, the first in the straight. And that did him, but he ran a hell of a lot better than that. And he was also running a good race behind Snow Leopardess, who's obviously going to win the Grand National. It banged up first time up, but again fell. So jumping is a little bit of a concern, but generally his jumping is all right. And he's won round Sandown. So he can put it together. And if he does put it together, I think he's well handicapped. He's the kind of horse that it's got the potential to improve going up to this sort of distance for the first time. So I'm going to throw a bit of winning place at both of those split stakes, Eclair Surf and Achilles.
I agree with Achilles, and DC agrees with Eclair Surf and another.
Yeah, like you said about Eclair Surf, I just look back at the last one at Sandown where he beat Eclair de Guy over 3 miles in really heavy ground, and just looks at a doors there. I think that going up to this trip will be really in his favour. And Emma Lavelle had a nice winner there last weekend for Tim Sider, and I presume this has been the target. She could have gone for the Welsh Grand National. She kept him back for this. I think he's a nice bet. And I thought Paddle Your Own Canoe was very interesting for Dan Skelton. He finished 3rd in handicap hurdle in Haydock just before Christmas. But he never really came with a winning run, but he was staying on. He was just staying on and staying on and staying on. He was only beaten 5.5 lengths, I think. But I think this is his second run for Dan Skelton now, and he's gone way up and trip in a chase. He's unexposed as a chaser as well. He's only had 5 runs as a chaser and has won one of them and finished 3rd in another one. So there's plenty more to come from him. And I think if there's market support from him, I think that's a good nod in his favour. I was very interested in Achille as well, and Jory's back, but tough Achille. It's only been 19 days since that run in the Welsh Grand National, and that was really what put me off him. Yeah, hopefully he run a big race, and Jory's back is another one. I think he might be coming back to himself after being completely bottomed by the 4 miler a couple of years ago, but he had a good third there recently. But the two main ones would be Eclair Soft will definitely be the main bet in this, and a bit of Paddy O'Connor as well.
Achille, that was my one concern, was the 19-day break, which may not be enough, but it's a lot less than the break he had before coming to this race last year when he still finished second. That was over a year. So I thought he was a fair shout at, what did I say, 11.0, yes. And I also thought No Rematch was interesting. 21.0, looked a sort of progressive staying chaser, and then on reappearance was very disappointing. Went off at 7.0 at Exeter over 3 miles and pulled up. But I'd be happy enough to just take the view that he needed the run. It was only his second chase start, and I can absolutely see that this sort of race is going to suit. Testing ground, Chepstow he won over. He's £8 higher than that. This was this sort of time last year. I think he's just he's a much bigger price than I thought he'd be. I know he pulled up last time, but if you forgive that, progressive. So that was my other bet, both win and place. Steve?
Yeah, that point about Achille only having 19 days since, and it might seem a little bit contradictory, because I always think you do want at least 3 weeks in staying chases. But the one trainer who I don't have that opinion of is Venetia Williams, who seems to be able to string horses together, good runs together all the time off short breaks. And Achille won off a 18-day break earlier in his career. I know he's probably very well handicapped in them, but doesn't worry me with Venetia Williams horses as much as it would with perhaps some others.
Fair enough. Right, let's move on to, we've got 2 more to do. 3:15 at Kempton, first of all, betting as follows: Caribbean Boy 4.5, Smarty Wild 5.0, Kitty's Light 5.5, Strictly a Dancer 8.0, Wishing and Hoping 8.0. The final trio are into double figures, and I'm most excited about Steve's selection, so off you go.
I can't let old Double Shuffle go off at this sort of price. He absolutely loves Kempton. He won this race last year. And what is he now? £1 higher in the handicap. And he backed that up last year. I mean, it was a more competitive race last year. Undoubtedly, it was a good race last year. And he just loves this track. He likes to get on the front end and go. And he went too fast in the Close Brothers chase, the big 3-miler that used to be sponsored by the trade paper for a few years. And he went too fast that day, but still managed to finish 6th in a fantastic run behind his stablemate, Clondor Castle. If you go back, he was, I can't remember, was it Mike Bite he was second to in the King George? Yeah, it was about 10 years ago. But the thing is, he's 12 years old now, but that's the way Tom George trains. He never is hard on them earlier in their career, and they always keep going. And Double Shuffle's one of those. I fancied him at Wincanton in the Badger Beer, and he never went a yard. I don't know quite what was up with him that day, but coming back to Kempton, he generally shows his best form there, and I can't let him go off it. 17.0, 15.0, whatever he is. He's a great old boy, and although there's a bit of competition for the lead in there, I think it is who goes from the front. Wishing Him Hoping goes from the front. I don't think with only 8 runners they'll go massively fast, and I can't have him out the frame shuffle. So go on, my son.
16.0 he is. DC? Yeah,
I'm just going to put a caveat now that this is my weakest opinion of the day by far. I found this race very hard. I'm going to put up McTotty. He did me a nice favour early on there at the entry. He just hasn't. They stepped him up and tripped for the 3 mile 2 for the Beecher chase, and then he had to go in the Welsh Grand National as well. I just don't think that he stays that far. So he was very good over 2 mile 5 at the entry, obviously, and they put the hood back on him he wore a hood all the way through his novice chasing career, and they brought it back now. I think that 3 miles in Kempton and a bit of a flatter track, I think that'll suit him down to the ground a bit better than the last 2 tests. There's definitely a good horse there, and he's a win place price. So you've got the dead 80 or so. Hopefully he'll sneak into second or third, or maybe even win.
Yeah, and I'm just going to have a small bet on Kitty's Light at 5.5. Who it's probably my weakest opinion of the day, bar those I'm no bet. And originally I was, but I don't know. He's 143. He's just so well treated. I think he went up to 149 after Chepstow. That was after he went up 4 for. Well, he should have won at Sandown, shouldn't he? At the back end of last year. I know he looked outpaced here last time. He's £4 lower now.
Yeah.
Maybe they're working back from trying to get him down to run in the Sandown race again. But he's just too big for me. I think he is the best staying chaser in it. So and he's getting weight from a couple. So I'll have a small win bet on Kitty's Light. Wouldn't surprise me if he won very comfortably, but maybe there's a plan afoot, but I'll have a go. And the last race, Warwick, 3:35. It's a 7-runner Pertemps qualifier. Who knew that was possible? I'm sitting this one out. I found it so difficult. I could easily back all of them, and it wasn't for me. 3.75 Riggs. Alaphilippe 4.33. Sporting John is 5.5 as his third win. The Jam Man 10.0. Sire de Burley 13.0. Keep Hill 21.0. DC, you can start, sir.
This is some load of shite of a race, isn't it? Gordon Elliott had 9 entries in this, and there's only actually 7 entries ended up running, and he has none of them. And is it the top 6 qualify? This is just some crap race.
It's bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was. Sorry, is it 6 that qualify or 7?
I thought it was 6.
It's 6.
Maybe
because they always say, everyone goes, "Ooh, the 6th ran well at Leopardstown."
Yeah. So
it's bollocks.
It is. Yeah, I was going to go no bet, and I didn't realize that he was this price. We put up Riggs. Riggs is actually the favourite here now. I thought he'd be a bigger price than he is, but Riggs probably has to win this. He need to go up a few pounds. I'd like 132. I don't know. That was my only rationale for it. That Riggs probably needs to win. I think that the Jam Man, Sire de Burley, Sporting John, and Third Wind are all going to be just ridden for 4th or 5th.
So is it basically just top level shithousery from Gordon Elliott, putting loads in, scaring loads off, not running any?
No, they're just checking out the marks. He has their English marks now. I've them all written down here. If you went to.
Look at him go! He loves it. He loves it.
Yeah.
Go on.
He entered the winner of the Pertemps, Tullybeg. Tullybeg is going to be running off 140 in the Pertemps now. He might have another run at the Dublin Racing Festival, but he's
not. He's going to go fresh there. Yeah. Seriously, off 140 wins. He wins.
Tullybeg, we just go back to the first Pertemps qualifier of the year. I think it was in the October meeting. The day that definite plan won. Jordan Gailford was on him, and he just he went so wide, got him home 5th, job done, brilliant.
Yeah, Kansas City Chief won
Kansas
that race.
City Chief, yeah, lovely hurling. And that's your anti-post tip for the Pertemps there from the Tullybeg. Riggs, I suppose. Riggs. I think Riggs will want to win it. And the two at the top of the market, Riggs and Alaphilippe, are the only two that are actually really going to be interested in winning this, I think.
Steve.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a shit out of a race, isn't it? And usually it's a race that I like, but I just thought on the prices, the Jam Man, that sort of price shouldn't be so big. I thought he ran well last time at Navan, and that was his second start of the season. Might be coming to the ball. I don't think he's quite good enough these days to be able to win the final of this series. So for that reason, I think they'd be mad keen to win. And it's sporting chance, but I just think it's a filthy race. Totally filthy.
We're really excited about the last of the ITV races, the 3:35 at Warwick. That's it as far as the race previews go. So it's just time for best bets. Steve, who's your best bet?
Up for parole, Lanzarote hurdle, Kempton.
Lovely. Up for parole for Steve. My best bet is Marie's Rock. I just thought I'd get in there first, Steve. I think she should be so clear favourite. She should be. She's not. It's silly. She will take some beating. Shake your head all you like, Jones. DC?
Yeah, mine is Marie's Rock as well.
Yep.
Fine.
I might tweet Chris Gordon and say, Lanzarote, you realise it's not in Lanzarote. That's great, Steve. Very good.
I said that to him. I said, you do realise it's not in Lanzarote then?
Yeah. Very good. That is it. Those are all your bets. Best bets and all for the action from Warwick and Kempton ITV this Saturday. Don't forget to go to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all our bets across all the sports, because the Premier League's back this weekend and the NFL as well. And hit the like button if you are watching, and if you subscribe or listen on the podcast, then please do give us a review. We will say goodbye.